Good afternoon. Welcome again to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez, coming to you live now as we get ready for a press conference from the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. Very important news at the end of the day when it comes to air traffic control, the FAA, flying, safety in flying, and all of that. Aviation, so important, an important industry in our country. That press conference will be starting within the hour, specifically at 1:30. But we know that there'll be some great news coming out of that. Sean Duffy on the right side of history as a great pick by President Trump. In the meantime, All Family Pharmacy, obviously a great sponsor at the network, but there's so many key things about this pharmacy that you can get where you really can't get it anywhere else when it comes to ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. It's very difficult to get those kind of medications. But joining us now is someone that has his own show, Lars Larson, who is speaking on behalf of All Family Pharmacy. Sir, tell us overall your thoughts about All Family Pharmacy and how easy it is for Americans to actually get their hands on the things that they need.
Well, Matthew, I think part of what All Family Pharmacy's real appeal is to Americans, we've lost a lot of trust in the medical community, and especially over the last 5 years, although I think there have been things that have caused us to lose our trust over, say, 20 years or more. But the last 5 from the pandemic forward, and I've even had guests who've said on my show that, look, yes, the public has lost its trust, and it shows up in so many places. It shows up in, say, lower vaccination rates and other places. What a lot of Americans want to get back to, I want to go to a doctor, I want to tell the doctor what I want, and I want the doctor to treat me like a customer and give me what I want. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to hardcore narcotics, but when you say, and in fact, I'll tell you one personal experience, Matthew. I had a family member, and my wife was going with her to the doctor, and she, along with other things that she was having dealt with, she said, by the way, can I get some ivermectin? And the doctor looked at her and said, why? Are you a horse? And I'm going to tell you something. The fact is, All Family Pharmacy is not going to call you a horse. And what it was that was a representative of the medical community basically disparaging a customer. It would be as though I walked into the hardware store and said, I'd like to buy a skills saw. And if the salesman said, why? You're not afraid you're going to cut your hands off? I would walk out of that store so fast, except these days you're trapped in a system where it's kind of like a cafeteria. You've already paid the cost. So you've already paid it. If you're working like I am or you are, you get your health care plan. Company pays $10,000 or $15,000 a year. So when you walk in the door, this is a customer who's already paid. You can't walk out the door. You can't take, and if you're out of network, you can't take your business elsewhere. All Family makes it easy. You call up, you go online, you get in touch with a real doctor. The real doctor listens to your request and then fulfills it. And you don't go through a lot of insurance nonsense. Believe me, I think that's what Americans want medicine to go back to. I want to be treated like a customer. I want to be able to tell the person what I want and what my concern is, and that I want to get the product that I'm seeking. That's what All Family Pharmacy does. It's what so much of the medical community and the medical industry, which makes billions, does not do. And I know that was a long-winded answer, but hey, they kicked me out of TV because I have a face for radio, and I do tend to go on a bit.
It's okay that you went on a bit because this is important information. Being able to get our hands on ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or methylene blue when other places will say exactly that. What are you, a horse to get ivermectin? Are you kidding me? I wish that when my wife and I had COVID over Christmas a couple years back, that I had ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine with me, and I didn't have it. Thank God for All Family Pharmacy, to be honest with you. And I want to stock up on it. And that's something you can do too, right? You could stock up on all this stuff.
Believe me, the Larson family has antibiotics on hand, and we're not interested in overusing medicine either. We understand the dangers of that. We also understand side effects. I'm constantly looking up even over-the-counter stuff to say, does this stuff interact with that stuff? If I take a Dayquil because sometimes I get congested, I don't take a Tylenol on top of that because they both have acetaminophen in it. Now, am I trying to play amateur doctor? Well, I'll tell you what, I think the industry has kind of put you in that spot. As an American, if you don't take care of your own health, the institutions are not going to do it. And knowing that you're not going to be at the back of the line. You walk into the average hospital, clinic, emergency room, and you find out the people who are paying nothing are sitting in there with you, and they're getting the same level of service that you, who paid thousands, got. When I call All Family, when I go online to All Family, I don't get treated that way. I am a customer, and they listen to my concerns, and they certainly don't disparage me for being a customer who wants to ask questions.
I mean, just the other day, we interviewed the founder of All Family Pharmacy, but also a pharmacist there. And this isn't something where you just type in, hey, I want this and this and this, and you just get it. You have to go through a medical. I mean, this is a whole real deal thing, but it's just online.
Yep, and that's the beauty of it. I know that there are lots of things I don't want to see go online, but this is a perfect reason for it. Because we've all had this experience that even urgent care has become kind of unavailable. Urgent care is not, so it's kind of like fast food is not fast anymore, and urgent care does not treat you urgently. It used to be we'd go to the emergency room, and then that got overcrowded, so they created urgent care, and now you go online, and maybe urgent care says, yeah, we can see you in a couple of days. Well, in a couple of days, I'll either be dead or my problem will be solved. I don't have to go through that wait time. If I just say, I want to have some of this hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin on hand just in case, and I'm not going to abuse it, and I'm not going to use it in a way that hurts me, but I don't need the medical community disparaging me, and I think All Family Pharmacy answers that particular concern.
Exactly, and then I was reading that there are more than 200 essential medications and antibiotics that are available on All Family Pharmacy. But let's shift over a bit. I mean, we're seeing Make America Healthy again with RFK Jr. Your thoughts about how he's doing and how this all kind of plays into the healthcare of America, especially with some of those drug shortages that are out there?
Yeah, I think that Americans have reason to be concerned. RFK Jr., while I'm not a big fan of his on a lot of political issues, on some things I'm very much a fan. And I understand that Americans need to, take care of their own health care, as I mentioned a moment ago. One of the ways to do that is pay attention to what's going on in your body. Keep yourself healthy, and there are ways to do that. Although I want to see me given the choice. If I decide I don't mind food with food dye in it, I'd kind of like the government to stay out of that choice. I mean, I'm a conservative and registered as a Republican, so I can vote, but I'm very much a libertarian. I want the government to stay out of my business and allow me. These days, I have better tools. I mean, I'm an old guy. You're a young guy, Matthew, but I'm old enough to remember when I had to look something up. It was in a years old copy of Britannica or something like that. These days, I can go online and not just get one opinion. I can get 50 opinions on something very quickly online. I should be able to use that information and then make my own decision about what I think is healthy, whether I like seed oil or fatty acids or whatever. That should be my choice.
You're right, especially when it comes to things like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. I mean, who is it for someone to say, no, you can't have that, when there's been research done by other doctors that say this is actually a good thing? So,
well, do you remember they effectively lied to us during the pandemic because they locked it up? They knew that there were doctors who were going to write ivermectin prescriptions because that's the only way you can get it. And then they found out the state in various states who license the doctors through state government said, if you do that, if you write that prescription, we will take away your license as a doctor and you won't be treating anybody. And I think what they did at the time, and I'll tell you, it's a longer conversation, but Matthew, you probably know the history. They wanted emergency use authorization for the jab, which, by the way, I've never taken the jab. And to get that, though, the FDA's own rules said there can be no other available alternative treatment. And they said, well, there's hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. Okay, we'll just make those illegal to obtain. Now we have our emergency. They kind of channeled Rahm Emanuel. If you don't have a crisis yet, make one and then make use of it. And guess what? A lot of people made a lot of money, tens of billions of dollars, by simply saying you can't have those available treatments. All Family Pharmacy is part of the answer to that. We get around the government, but we still comply with all of the rules.
Not only is there the bulk ordering, I'm seeing that you can actually, in some cases, get some of the medications shipped overnight. I mean, why this pharmacy, though, out of all the pharmacies across this country?
I think that a lot of other institutions, companies, were afraid to take on the government. This basically is poking the government in the eye and saying, look, you're not going to hold people back from doing what should be legally available to them. And the fact is that medicine is a practice. The reason they call it practicing medicine is doctors disagree. I mean, how long have you been hearing the advice, get a second opinion or a third? Well, Does that mean that when the government, a bunch of non-doctors, says we will declare that you may have this and you may not have that, you're getting one opinion and you're not allowed to seek out a second opinion? I think there were a lot of other companies, other pharmacies who said, we don't want to go up against the government. We've seen what happens to people and to companies when they do buck what the government is trying to do.
Yeah, it's just awesome to be able to have this option with All Family Pharmacy. And then with us, with it being allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, getting that 10% off, it's always good to save some money while you're doing this process. The drug situation when it comes to the prescription drugs, the prices are dropping under President Trump. Outside of all of that, though, having what you need to stay healthy and to make America healthy again, this is the place, it seems, that is the right place to go.
Yeah, it's the free marketplace. And like you said, you can also access, you're a younger guy, you probably don't. I have a couple of meds, ordinary meds that I take for blood pressure and for sugar, blood sugar. And those routine meds are also available through All Family Pharmacy. And you might just decide, I don't like dealing with all the other hassles that are involved. I'll just go and buy it directly from All Family. For a lot of people, the cost of doing that, and they keep the cost low, is better than having to go through the long rigmarole when they say, oh, all you need to do to re-up your meds is go for a $200 or $300 office visit. And then you get and I know what the doctor's going to tell me when I get a checkup. They're going to say, yeah, you just paid $300 for me to tell you you're doing fine, and now I'll re-up your meds. And you say, gee, it's cheaper with insurance. It's not cheaper when you add on the cost of the office visit.
That is such a good point right there, to go directly to a pharmacist like All Family Pharmacy to get things like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. The methylene blue is also something that people are taking out there. What do you know about that? Because I don't know anything about it.
I honestly don't know a lot about methylene blue, but I've heard and read articles, and people love what they say it can do for you. And really, I know that the big pharma companies are coming up with lots and lots of new formulations of new miracle drugs. Great. Good for you. I think they just came up with one for ovarian cancer. God bless them for that. But if you can go with something, I take cinnamon every day. And why? Because I'm told, my research when I got type 2 diabetes told me that cinnamon will help to hold your blood sugar down. Well, if it doesn't, it's kind of like chicken soup. It can't hurt you to put more cinnamon on everything. But it's one of those things I do. If that kind of solution works for you, and then you can add in the meds where you need to have the meds, what's wrong with that?
Exactly. And then antibiotics are available there as well. More than 200 essential medications. Lars Larson of the Lars Larson Show. Sir, thank you for spending the time with us on behalf of All Family Pharmacy.
Matthew, it's a pleasure. Take care and God bless.
God bless you. Thank you, sir. All right, so 1/12, Monday, May 12th. I mean, you look at it right there. You see allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, RSBN 10, the great promo code to use for this great company. Imagine, again, needing that medication, being told you just can't have it, not because it's out of stock, but because someone decided you just shouldn't have access. So you see the information right there on your screen, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. It makes it simple. Just the medications you want when you need them without jumping through the hoops. And I think that's part of what it's all about. You don't have to go through so much red tape just to get something that works. All Family Pharmacy is the answer to that. It's the kind of medications your local pharmacy won't touch and your doctor won't even mention. Maybe some will, but not many. Trust me, I remember this. Again, my wife and I went through the whole COVID thing. It was awful. We wish we had ivermectin at that point. This was a couple years back. And there were places within our region, up in the Northeast, we couldn't access something like ivermectin. If I would have known about allfamilypharmacy.com, I would have literally, I'm being honest with you about this. This is a real thing, a real company that really will help get you the essential medications you need, including ivermectin. So all you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, a great sponsor at Right Side Broadcasting Network. And it's always great to line up with people that are on the right side of history and their products are something that are really good for people, including, if you need it, you have the options right there at allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. All right, so 1/14, Monday, May 12th. We'll be talking more about All Family Pharmacy, of course, throughout our broadcasts as they're a great sponsor, but also, again, we bring in really wonderful people that have awesome products here at the network. A little bit later, after this press conference with Sean Duffy, we'll be interviewing Kim Bright with Brightcore, talking about Kimchi 1, this probiotic that's really good for gut health. I don't know about you, but I've been working out kind of recently and really started to eat better. And I'm really working on that whole goal of losing 25 pounds by July 15th. I told some of you about that on a few prior broadcasts, but things like All Family Pharmacy to keep you healthy if you do have some sort of illness or bacteria or something that happens, or Kimchi One as well, having a great probiotic to help your gut health out, your system out. So we'll interview Kim Bright at about 2 o'clock Eastern, the owner of Brightcore. Before we get to all of that, again, Sean Duffy is the Secretary of Transportation for our country. He has a press conference, and about 15 minutes from now, I love aviation. I fly a lot. I know you do too. Maybe some of you don't, but the point is we're looking forward to hearing about air traffic control, FAA, all sorts of things, because recently at Newark Airport, you guys might have been seeing some of the articles out there, but Newark Airport's been having some radar problems. You don't want to have radar problems, especially at a major international airport like Newark, New Jersey is on the East Coast hub there. Heard other reports in other parts of the country as well. So this will be really good to listen to in its entirety. This Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation press conference that will be happening in just about 14 minutes from now. And if you missed any of this morning's coverage, definitely you might have, well, not might have, you definitely missed a lot, because President Trump held this great announcement about prescription drug prices going down, but also a lot of other announcements and accomplishments, and held a mini press conference that really updated the American people on a lot of items. So if you missed that broadcast, that's also on Rumble, it's on YouTube, it's on X, our website, our app. You can always rewatch that and get really informed on what the president's talking about and what he is doing as he's getting ready to visit 3 Middle Eastern countries this week. The entire week, he has a full slate of work to do, just like he does when he's here in the States. He'll be in Saudi Arabia, he'll be in Qatar, and he'll be in the United Arab Emirates this week. So we'll have a lot of live coverage on this trip to the Middle East for President Trump here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right, also another great sponsor, mypillow.com/RSBN. The Giza Dream Sheets are great. My family, we have them. They're awesome. We want to actually order some more because that's a really good price. We have the gray one. So we're looking at, I said to my wife, I said, let's get the white ones. Let's get these. I don't know. They're just wonderful. They're not that, you know how some sheets are like sandpaper in a way? And people are like, you're probably asking, wait, what kind of sheets do you sleep on? My point is, I've had that experience where it's just too rough. You got to have these. These are great. Seriously, they're awesome. So mypillow.com/RSBN, that's the place to go for the discount and also using the RSBN promo code. Not only are there the Giza Dream Sheets, there are more than 2,000 products on mypillow.com. I know a lot of you guys maybe have those products, but maybe time to get some more, especially the MyPillow, the sheets that you see there. There's a down comforter, there's a mattress topper, slides, sandals, all the stuff, the My Coffee, the list goes on. So you can't forget about the dog beds too. So mypillow.com/RSBN. You can save with the RSBN promo code as you see there, RSBN. Speaking of Right Side Broadcasting Network, if you'd like to donate at all to us, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. So just text RSBN to 801-801. That money, your dollars, literally goes to conservative media right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. All the coverage that you see, all the live interviews, all the live coverage over the years, everything moving forward, all the expansion projects, anything going on here, that money is going directly to us, and indirectly is really letting free speech and the true narrative and common sense continually be discussed and talked about here at the network. So that's your money definitely going towards something great. There is the Department of Transportation. We're looking forward to hearing from Sean Duffy. I like Sean Duffy. He's a cool guy. He's a really cool guy. On top of that, he knows what he's talking about, and he's really trying to get this aviation thing squared away with air traffic control, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, all the workforce numbers correct, all of the systems to make sure they're not antiquated, everything up to par. I mean, think about the amount of flights that happen every day around this country and around the world. There's a lot of flying going on. Well, we've also heard that there have been radar problems, literal radar problems at Newark Airport, EWR, the call letters there. That's not going to fly, no pun intended, under Sean Duffy. So we're looking forward to hearing his information that he's going to release today, but also any Q&A back and forth. For those of you that fly a lot out there, it's going to be great to watch this. And if you can't make it, you can't watch it in its entirety, of course, there will be a link a bit later that you can replay and watch this entire press conference that's coming up. Also, speaking of coming up, again, the owner of Brightcore, Kim Bright, she'll be joining the broadcast at about 2 o'clock Eastern Time right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Okay, let's go over a few other items that we've been seeing throughout the day when it comes to President Trump's schedule. We know that he's already in flight, literally right now, over the ocean on the way to Europe first. He's going to stop in England at the Royal Air Force Base just northeast of London as his first layover, his first stop there. And then he'll be going to Saudi Arabia tomorrow. So Riyadh will be his first stop. So that's happening this week, Qatar and also the United Arab Emirates. Before I get on to the rest of the schedule that's upcoming for the president, and since we're talking about aviation right now, Director, do we have that photo of the die-cast plane of Air Force One, the new paint job that will be on it? That is at the desk in front of where the two world leaders sit, President Trump and then, of course, the world leader. That's at the desk in the Oval Office. You can see the little bit different look there, of course, and that's what the goal has been. President Trump wanted a new plane from Boeing, but now getting a temporary one from the people of Qatar, the leaders there. It's in good faith, the president said, receiving this, and they're going to have that on the way back as well. So it looks like Air Force One, the one he's on now, will be flying back, and the other one, that other 747 from the Middle East, will be flying back as well. So that's the way it will look. We also have possibly the Truth Social post from President Trump, but he was just basically talking about it being free and how the Democrats are saying, well, you should pay for it. If you look at the bottom there, it says it bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that, President Trump says. The Dems are world-class losers. MAGA. So it's great to see President Trump ripping it like he does, because he has the freedom of speech to do so, and everything he's talking about is all common sense and based, and it's fun to cover, tell you what. All right, so 1:22 Eastern, Monday, May 12th, looking there live at the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Transportation press conference that will be happening with Sean Duffy, as it's now 1:22 once again. Let's go over a few of the breaking news headlines from the day. RFK Jr., of course, saying, we finally have a president standing up for the American people. He said that during that press conference this morning. We also heard that prescription drug prices are dropping by 59% plus. So a huge dip in the prices there. We also heard about the America Golden Dome, the protection of any kind of attacks to the homeland. That is in the works. We also heard about the 747 that the president will be receiving while over there in the Middle East. And then on top of that, all of the economic and trade deals and all of the things that the president will be discussing with the world leaders over there, just to bring a better sense of strategy for trade and for economic purposes and any other strategies that we'll hear from this week. Speaking of other countries and international trade, China and the United States have come to an agreement for trade. So as the cameraman gets ready, that's called white balancing, if you didn't know, that they're just making sure that the balance looks good with all the different colors there in the transportation office there. But in the meantime, China and the United States having that trade agreement, which is a win for the United States. So looking forward to hearing even more details about that as we get it, as you're looking at the White House live. All right, so other than that, looking at 1:24 Eastern, awaiting Sean Duffy. Again, at 2 o'clock, we'll have Kim Bright with Brightcore live with us right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're hearing from Breaking 911 and Fox that stocks are surging amid the U.S.-China trade deal. So great news to see that. Also, we're seeing that Breaking 911 also says that everybody feels threatened. Hispanic businesses in Nashville struggling after wave of ICE raids. Well, that's we'll see what happens there. We'll see the details out of that. But when someone is here illegally, especially criminally, you're not allowed in the country. Who are you? That's a problem, right? So if we were to all travel to another country, we'd have to have all of our paperwork, documents, and everything, and our history, our background, and all that, in order to even be able to be accepted to go to a different country. Instead, here in this country, we have a number of people that we have no idea where they're from or what they have done in their past or any of that kind of stuff when it comes to a criminal background check. So those are reports that we're seeing on Breaking 911. Also, we're seeing Marco Rubio talking about a number of American hostages, including Mr. Alexander, who will be coming back thanks for President Trump's work, and also for Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, to bring any hostages back to the United States as well. All right, producer, can you repeat that, please? All right, let's go to Colonial Metals Group, another sponsor here at Right Side. Colonial Metals Group is freegoldguide.com/RSBN for more information on this great company here, as it seems as if sometimes these other countries are plotting to have financial devastation that could really pull the plug on the dollar. But really, thanks to President Trump, genius, because he's letting retirement savers just like you protect your life savings with gold at a 100% tax-free rate. So 401ks or tax-sheltered IRAs backed in gold, silver. You can learn all about this with a free info kit. freegoldguide.com/RSBN is the website. You also can go to that QR code that you see there on your screen. Gold and silver, great backup plan, especially for those in the retirement sections, or if you have a savings account that you might want to put some over there in gold and silver, you can do so with Colonial Metals Group. All right, approaching the bottom of the hour, it's 1:27, slated at 1:30, so in just about 3 minutes from now will be the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, who will join all of us live. This is a live feed that we're getting from Washington, D.C. As I head over to Sean Duffy's page here on X, knowing that he's been speaking a lot about air traffic control and the FAA and workforces and radar and all of the aviation aspects of transportation. So we'll hear a lot of that today, and also any updates from the Newark situation, where I believe I read last that there are 8 times that the radar dropped in Newark. That's obviously dangerous and not good. So we're going to hear maybe the latest on that from this 20th Secretary of the United States Department of Transportation. He is saying 2 minutes ago, literally, join me at 1:30 Eastern for the latest update at Newark Airport. So it is indeed about Newark Airport and the situation with the radar there. So we'll have this in its entirety coming up. Also, Secretary Sean Duffy recently saying to the fake news that the fake news peddled lies that air traffic controllers were fired. The truth is not one controller was cut and more were hired under my watch. We will keep doing so to make sure our skies are the safest they can be. Sean Duffy speaking to Meet the Fake News Press on NBC just over the weekend. But still, getting the messaging out regardless. I know that the fake news is terrible. The president calls them the enemy of the people, but also the amount of lying that they've done over the years to really brainwash a whole swath of people in order to push a leftist agenda. But still, I guess we have to have our people go on there when it comes to some of these situations. And Sean Duffy did go to NBC there and was interviewed over the weekend. But at least that everybody is seeing, whether they're on conservative media or on the fake news, the message of what the common sense truth is about what's going on. Hopefully we can get some more honest and free and fair press here in this country. And if there is something to hold somebody accountable for, or if there is something that is done incorrectly, or the masses or we the people are saying, hey, this is wrong, it's our job in journalism to see that, report that, and then also to ask the appropriate questions. The problem has been so many leftist media have always just not taken the truth from the people, conjured up some other bull crap, and then they started asking somebody about it there at a press conference and trying to slant a bunch of news. And that's just not what we want in this country anymore, as you guys know. That's why you're watching Right Side. That's why you watch conservative media now, because you want the truth. And the truth sets us free. And that's awesome, isn't it? So also Secretary Sean Duffy saying 22 hours ago on X, flying is the safest mode of transportation. We're going to keep it that way by building a brand new air traffic control system. Pretty awesome. Sean Duffy also saying recent glitches in our air traffic control show why we can't ignore this aging system any longer. President Trump and I are committed to fixing this decades-old problem. So that, again, from the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, from over the weekend. Also saying in the safety mission of the FAA, like air traffic controllers, no one was cut. They kept asking him, did you cut people? He says no one was cut. We actually have staffed up. We hired more air traffic controllers during this time. So Rapid Response 47 reposting that on X, words from the man you're about to see here, give us an update out of Newark Airport, or at least the specifics about any radar glitches there. Sean Duffy will be there live, and we'll hear that in its entirety right here on Right Side. So thanks so much for streaming in as we get ready for this press conference. The U.S. Department of Transportation, Aviation, and the air traffic control and the radar at Newark being the specific issue today. He will come out, I'm sure, and give an update on that. And then we'll hear from any reporters, any questions regarding aviation as well. So looking forward to all of that right now. It's the bottom of the hour. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
I'm Elmer Heinrich, the 91-year-old formulator of Immuno 150, an incredible nutritional supplement. There's nothing like it. Now, Immuno 150 is different because it contains 70 plant-derived minerals and 80 other nutrients. Dr. Linus Pauling, known for vitamin C, was instrumental in convincing me to get into the mineral business in 1983. He said the world is sick due to a lack of minerals in topsoil. He said the body needs 60 minerals, but the average food and supplement has no more than 12. That's the reason for Immuno 150. Since its inception, it's had a powerful impact on the lives of thousands of people who could not get any help from various supplements they took or their doctor. Now I suggest you try Immuno 150 and see what 70 minerals, CoQ10, and 80 nutrients can do for you. Look at the 2 videos on our website. Millions have. Now consider placing an order for Immuno 150 online or call our toll-free number. I know you'll be glad you did.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
President Trump is keeping his promises and saving America. And your kids can learn all about it for free with a new Kids Guide to President Trump. This fun guide shows kids all the steps President Trump is taking to put America back on top of the world stage, including building a strong economy, protecting our borders, and negotiating trade deals. It's an exciting way for kids to learn about President Trump's outstanding leadership. Act now and get a free bonus guide, The Courage of the President. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Welcome back. Awaiting Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, to have a press conference and update about EWR, Newark Airport, and some of the radar glitches that have happened. We're going to get an update there from the Secretary here shortly. Meantime, President Trump on Air Force One over the Atlantic Ocean somewhere at this point, on his way to England first as a layover stop, on the way then to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. All right, so that 3-nation Middle East tour, again, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. We'll be meeting with the Saudis tomorrow. We'll have live coverage and any recorded coverage to share with you, as obviously a totally different time zone over there. So we'll bring it to you as we get it. Also, Thursday, Russia and Ukraine meeting together. We're talking Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zelensky are meeting together on Thursday. Hopefully peace will be what is out of that meeting and a stop to that war. Hopefully it stops right now, but if it has to wait till Thursday, at least it's getting a lot closer. That meeting, huge, huge news. Russia and Ukraine meeting together, the two leaders, on Thursday. Meantime, we know President Trump on May 24th will be speaking at West Point in New York to the United States Army grads there. That'll be May 24th, a commencement speech. And then on the 14th, next month, Flag Day, U.S. Army has a huge celebration parade. That'll be in Arlington, Virginia, the National Mall, and the Pentagon, with fireworks to follow. More than 6,000 troops involved in that parade. So a celebration of sorts for the United States Army. Also, earlier today, if you missed any of the press conference or any of the announcement from President Trump or RFK Jr. Talking about the prescription drug prices and also a number of other items, we have a few clips for you here. So let's go to President Trump from earlier today signing the executive order about these drug prices.
Price control, no. What was price control is before. If you want to talk about price control, is what they were doing. They were making us pay. They set a price, and they said, here's what we're going to pay, and anything else charge America. Because at that time they had a very stupid president, and it really went crazy during the last 4 years. And remember this, the Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen. They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system. And I think it's going to be very hard. You'll have to ask Democrats, are they going to vote against the one great, big, beautiful deal that's being negotiated now, tax cuts, etc., when now on top of the tax cuts and regulation cuts, all the things, now you're going to say that the price of your medicine is going down by 60, 70, 80%. You're going to vote against it? I think a lot of Democrats are going to be forced to do something that their leaders are going to beg them not to do, and that's vote for the bill. I don't see how they can vote against it. How can they vote against it when drug prices, drugs and pharmaceuticals are going to be down 70, 80%? It's going to be very interesting.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or $400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you.
We want to talk, and Frank from the FAA here is as well. Listen, we've all been reporting and seeing what's happening at Newark Airport. And I think it is clear that the blame belongs with the last administration. Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden did nothing to fix the system that they knew was broken. And so I want to lay out how we got here, what's going on in Newark, and what our plan is to actually fix it under this Trump administration, who, by the way, fixes problems, doesn't cause problems. So how we got here. In July of 2024, the Biden-Buttigieg FAA moved control of the Newark airspace from New York, or also known as N90, to Philadelphia Tower or the Philadelphia TRACON. As part of the move, the STARS system that processes radar data for Newark remained based in New York, so they didn't move it from New York down to Philly, where the controllers would be. Redundant and diverse telecommunication line feeds this data from New York to Philadelphia TRACON, where controllers handle New York arrivals and departures. The Biden-Buttigieg FAA bungled this move without properly hardening the telecom lines feeding the data, which was already well known to be error-prone. Without addressing the underlying infrastructure, they added more risk to the system. In fact, there were issues in October and November under Biden and Buttigieg that would have highlighted to the prior administration that the underlying hardware would continue to cause problems. That, along with their overall neglect of our whole aviation system and the aging issues that we've highlighted over the course of the last several weeks, were clear mistakes of their administration. So let's talk about where we are now. What's going on in Newark? So a trio of recent equipment issues at Philadelphia on April 28th, May 9th, and May 11th affecting communication radar displays has highlighted the antiquated nature of the nation's air traffic control system, which is still using copper wires and other outdated technology. The incidents on April 28th and May 9th resulted in very brief outages that impacted the STARS radar data displays going down. The most serious of these outages lasted approximately 30 seconds. This includes the STARS radar data displays going down again for 30 seconds. The STARS displays took approximately 60 seconds then to reboot and come back online. So there's been some discrepancy, 30 seconds versus 90 seconds. The outage was 30 seconds, but then the displays took another minute to boot. That's where you get 30 and 90 seconds. But the telecom was out for 30 seconds. The outage also interrupted the phone line and radio frequencies for a very short period. This is how controllers talk to pilots. Radio frequency connections to phone lines via voice switches are the primary way those controllers do talk to pilots. These frequencies returned almost immediately, which is why you heard pilots actually telling airplanes that they couldn't see them with the radar. They were able to talk to the airplanes, but couldn't see the radars or the airplanes on their scopes. These issues, along with staffing shortages at Philadelphia and runway construction at Newark, have led to the delays for passengers. So in response, on Friday night, the FAA implemented a software update to prevent future outages. The software patch was successful, and our redundant lines are now both working. We know this because on Sunday there was an outage. You all reported on that. And the outage was the main line went down, but the redundant line did stand up, meaning our patch, our fix worked. Now, because of that, the controllers who had seen this the prior two times, when they saw the main line go down, they were concerned. Even though they could see airplanes and talk to airplanes, out of an abundance of caution, they actually shut down the airspace for 45 minutes. But we still had our scopes and our telecom functioning on Sunday morning. So it's important to note that, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, this system is so old that even if you have high-speed fiber information coming in to a TRACON or a tower, the equipment that we use is so old, the information has to be slowed down. It comes in too fast. It has to go at the speed of copper wires. So again, we have two issues: the reliability of the telecom, but also the old equipment that we're using paired together are causing a lot of issues in the system. So let's talk about what the Trump administration is doing moving forward to fix the problems that were left to us from the Biden-Buttigieg administration. Now, while these temporary software fixes that I mentioned earlier that worked on Sunday morning should prevent future outages, the core issue is the telecommunication lines. Here's what we're doing to fix the telecom. One, I'll be requesting an OIG investigation into the failures of the last administration and the decisions that were made to move the TRACON from N90 in New York down to Philadelphia, and the work that was done to plan for this move and making sure that the lines were hardened. The FAA today is assembling a tiger team of experts to fully fast-track the fixes that we've identified need to be done to make sure this works. The FAA has replaced copper lines with fiber lines at Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia. That work is done. It was done in the last couple weeks. However, it's going to take another week or two to be testing those two lines before we flip the switch and make them live. We're also, we're going to flip that, but it's 1 to 2 weeks. It's going to actually happen, we hope, at the end of May. We have spoken with the heads of Verizon and L3 Harris to understand why the telecom issues persist and how we can expedite those fixes. And again, we work with L3 Harris as our contractor, and Verizon is on the ground offering the support on the lines that run actually the telecom into the TRACON. They've assured me that this work is their top priority, especially Verizon. I spoke with their CEO yesterday. It's a top priority. They're going to move this work as fast as possible to get efficient and effective lines working for Newark. The goal is to add 3 new telecommunication connections between New York and Philadelphia. This will provide more high-speed, reliability, and redundancy, so if one goes down, we are assured that the others will stand up. The goal is to have this done as soon as possible. I'll give you an update as soon as we hear back from Verizon on how quickly they can progress with this work. Let me be clear. Even with these new lines, we still, as I mentioned, have to dumb down the data feed from these outdated systems inside of our towers, our centers, and our TRACONs. Again, I showed this last week. We're using equipment that looks like it's off the Apollo 13 set. And so today we have high-speed fiber, but when it comes into the TRACON, we do slow it down so it can be used by the old equipment. Our hope is to have high-speed fiber connections and then new technology in these towers, in TRACONs and centers, so we can maximize the use of American airspace. Number 5, the FAA is deploying a temporary backup system to the Philadelphia TRACON that will provide redundancy during the switch to a more reliable fiber optic network. This system will ensure that if both fiber connections fail, at the same time, air traffic controllers will still be able to communicate with aircraft and with other controllers. This fortifies communications, ensures it is uninterrupted if a dual fiber failure occurs. The FAA is going to establish a STARS hub at the Philadelphia TRACON so the facility doesn't have to pull that data from New York. So again, we're pulling it from New York. We want to bring that down to Philadelphia. By the way, the STARS system should have been brought down to Philadelphia before this TRACON was moved. Biden and Buttigieg did not bring it down. They just quickly moved the TRACON without having STARS in place and without testing how hard the equipment actually was in regard to telecommunications. Using existing statutory authority, I have as the Secretary of DOT. The DOT will convene a delay reduction meeting this Wednesday with all airlines who have flights at Newark. The goal is to have a manageable number of flights land at Newark. Families shouldn't have to wait 4 or 5 hours for a flight that never takes off. By lowering the number of flights, we can ensure the ones that are kept, they do actually take off and they do actually land. This authority hasn't been used in over 20 years. As I've stated publicly, if Congress approves our plan, the President's plan, to build a brand new air traffic control system, work at Newark is going to be a priority. We will do that first. And so, again, to recap, I'm going to pass it off to the administrator. We're in a situation where telecom is going down. And it's taken some time to isolate the problem. And we believe we've done that, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We actually have to spend the time now to build the network that should have been built before the TRACON was moved. I know this is frustrating. I know it's hard for the airlines operating out of Newark, the families that fly out of Newark. It's problematic. But our commitment is always safety. We're going to make sure that if you fly, you're going to fly safely. And if we reduce the number of flights at Newark, we're not doing it to annoy people. We're not doing it to delay people's travel. What we're doing is guaranteeing safety. And when you have problems, you actually slow things down. And that's what we've done. We've slowed down the flights at Newark until we can stand this system up and be assured that we have enough controllers and a system that's actually working to keep everybody safe. And again, we didn't have to be here. This did not have to be our story. Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for infrastructure, and virtually none of it went to fix the biggest American infrastructure problem that we have, which is our air traffic control system. And so what you see in Newark, we're going to have to fix. We're going to move fast, but we're going to do it right. My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old. And we are fighting to make sure we work with Congress, get the money, and begin this build of a brand new system as quickly as possible. This couldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump, who, again, I'm going to say, he talked to me when he gave me the job. He knew how old this system was. And so when I presented him this plan, he said, listen, I want you to walk through it. Are we going to do the whole thing? This is not a patchwork. It's not a Band-Aid. This is going to be everything. We're going to build it brand new. And I said, yes, Mr. President, this is a plan to build everything new. It's going to be complicated, but we don't want more Newarks. We don't want more Newarks to happen throughout the country. And so we are going to fix Newark. We have a plan to fix Newark. We ask for your patience. And then we're looking to Congress to give us the resources to fix air traffic for the whole country so no one has to deal with this in the future. And with that, I would like to pass it off to a guy who has done an amazing job in orchestrating his team, in building a Tiger team to make sure we can quickly and efficiently address the problems that we face at Newark and throughout the system. Our acting administrator of the FAA, Chris Rusholo.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good afternoon. Yes, as the Secretary just described, so we have an action plan moving forward here. Starting today, we've, under the Secretary's direction, we have initiated a task force, an emergency task force, comprised of experts, executive experts from the FAA, from L3 Harris Corporation, as well as from Verizon. We're very focused on making sure that travel into Newark is safe and efficient. I can tell you uncategorically that the travel into Newark today is safe, but we will continue to monitor that situation as it relates to the technologies that the Secretary referenced earlier. And we will also work with the airlines, and the second reference was through this delay reduction task force meeting that we're having on Wednesday. That will be critical to working with the carriers to make sure that the travel season this summer is good for the American traveling public. So Again, first and foremost, we have a task force starting today with the right technical experts to keep focus on this every single day and to be transparent about the progress we're making. And the second piece is to make sure that we're working with the airlines and the airport, the Port Authority of Newark and New Jersey, to make sure that the travel into Newark this summer is safe. The final thing I would mention, and the Secretary touched on this as well, is it is time. We have seen delays and disruptions in the system. We need to get ahead of that. And by being bold and taking action on this new air traffic modernization program, that will be the long-term fix, even the midterm fix, to make sure that we continue to provide safe and efficient travel for the American traveling public.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. As a former controller and now as a manager that helps oversee the air traffic organization, top to bottom, in all my conversations with our management team and with the controllers, they look forward to new infrastructure. They look forward to the commitment that is being made by this administration and the leadership by Mr. Duffy to work on equipment that is younger than the children that they have. I will tell you, when I was in the Air Force and I was a controller in 1999, I actually was the test bed for STARS. That's when STARS first came out, was in 1999 at Eglin Air Force Base. We tested that. As a controller at Albuquerque Center, it was almost 20 years ago where the ERAM system came in. That's our automation for our en route centers. And the issues that we have with static on the frequencies were problematic then. It's exponential now. So we look forward, Mr. Secretary, to the new infrastructure, top to bottom. We applaud your efforts, sir. Thank you.
So we're happy to take any questions if you have any. Yes.
Mr. Secretary, thank you. Could we see more air traffic controllers from better staffed towers come to Newark to help out?
I'll take a stab at that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it does take time to train up controllers from other areas. So if they move from the Potomac TRACON and move up to Philly, it takes up to a year to train them on that airspace. Frank, am I right on that?
Average certification time, sir, for N90 is 2.5 years, but with our accelerated program, we hope to have that reduced quite a bit by a year to a year and a half, 2 years.
So it could be a year. So even you have a 20-year experienced controller, they move to a new airspace. It takes them a long time to train up. So we don't have the ability to just snap our fingers and move controllers around. It takes time to train up specifically on the airspace in which they control, which is why the staffing becomes an issue, and you got to see over the horizon on how you make sure you have enough in training to deal with any shortfalls that may come in the out years. Yes.
You've been saying that this is decades-old problems, and these issues have been present for years and years and years. So why didn't this administration initiate changes in their first administration?
Well, I think what we saw is the cracks that you are now seeing today were highlighted actually over the last 4 years. We were seeing more and more of it, and the president has said this a number of times. He had a plan to come into the second part of his administration because he knew what was going on to actually fix it. Some money, some billions of dollars were allocated from the last administration to this effort, and it was wasted. You don't see any result of any money that's been spent over 4 years. And by the way, they had no problem spending money. They spent a lot of money, and they didn't spend the money here. The president was understanding the cracks at the end of his administration and was going to fix it 4 years ago. But the last administration, they did nothing about it. And so as things get old, you get to the point where you're starting to hear some rattles in your car. That's probably the sign you bring it to the shop. The last administration was hearing the rattles, and they basically kept driving and didn't do anything to fix it. Yeah, Grady.
Thank you. First question's on Newark specifically. Last week, I think it was, United CEO said that the FAA regularly approves more than 80 flights per hour at Newark, even though it also tells the airline that 77 is the maximum. So I guess the question is that true? And if so, why is it happening? And then what's the target for reduction?
Yes, it's a great question. I would say to you, currently we're running essentially 24 to 28 arrivals. There's a lot of things that factor into the way the controllers can safely manage air traffic in and out of Newark. So that could be staffing, that could be technology, that could be weather. And all of those decisions are made based on the ability to safely manage that traffic in there. So there's no 70 flights an hour. There are arrivals and departures when you do the math. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is safe arrivals, safe departures. Right now, we're running a variable rate between 24 and 28. We expect that will continue. Again, when the construction project finishes at Newark, we will have an ability to kind of manage some additional traffic. But first and foremost, we're going to make sure our controllers are comfortable handling the workload they have, and then making sure that all those other parameters are factored into the decision to accept arrivals.
And what do you think an appropriate target is? I know you still have the meeting coming on Wednesday, but
Right.
do you have a number in mind going into it?
So I'll start from a place of whatever's safe to bring in there, and we're going to work very closely with the carriers and the airport to make sure that that is appropriately communicated to traveling public as well.
Mr. Secretary, one for you. In his previous term, President Trump advocated for the privatization of ATC. I know you've said that you don't want to go that route. I'm wondering if you've spoken with the president about that and what changed since then.
So I haven't specifically talking to the president about privatization. I don't recall whether he was supportive or not. But what we have to do is unify Congress. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's an American issue. And privatization is an issue that divides people. And if once the president and I and Chris are done building a brand new system and they want to have a conversation about privatization, they can do that. We'll be long gone. But if we have that, nothing is going to happen here. And there's more risk to the airspace. I'm not going to have more risk to the airspace. And so I want to keep everyone together, R's and D's. We're all wearing the same American shirt. Let's get it done together. Yes.
I wanted to ask about Wednesday's meeting and kind of piggyback off the question about flight reductions. So I saw that the notice mentioned the FAA was going to propose no more than 56 total operations per hour, 28 arrivals, 28 departures. When you're talking about reductions, is that going to be proportional based on how many flights the airline has out of Newark? And then also which airlines are attending Wednesday's meeting?
So I don't have a list of the RSVPs just yet. I can tell you that based on those conversations that will occur and in our, I'll call it our target rate, all those airlines are going to have to come and explain what they need and making sure that we're doing this in a fair and open, transparent manner. So I don't want to get ahead of that conversation. I think it's fair to say that both the airport as well as the airlines are going to have strong feelings about what they need to get out of Newark. We will have those conversations, and as a result of that, we'll make those decisions public.
And I think it's important to know we don't want to front run that conversation. Again, we're convening the airlines and having an open and constructive dialogue with them, we hope, yes.
Hi, yeah, Will Guys on the Air Current. Just wanted to clarify, so the move of N90 from Long Island to Philadelphia has kind of been in the works for years, as I'm sure you know. Are you specifically criticizing the way the move was done or the fact that the airspace was moved at all?
What I'm criticizing is the fact that I don't believe the telecom was adequately tested, because if it had been tested, they would have seen the errors that they saw in October and November of last year under their administration, and we wouldn't be seeing the errors in the telecom right now. So they didn't test it, and before they moved the TRACON, they should have put the STAR system down at Philly. That would have hardened the system. And so there was a number of things that weren't done in preparation for the move, which has left us in the situation in which we now have these reductions and cancellations at Newark. Yes.
Sam Ogazalik at Politico. You mentioned the backup system at the Philly TRACON and then also a software patch on Friday. Are those the same things, or can you distinguish what the differences are, if there are any?
So, do I want to take this? Do you want to go? I'll try it, and then if I get it. So, because the telecom is so fast coming in, and we have to slow it down. When the primary line went down and we switched to the backup line, the system we have in place was not adequately slowing down the feed, and so it overloaded that line and it went down. But again, we are trying to slow speeds down to 1990 speeds for 1980 equipment, right? So we're going to build new high-speed, resilient fiber lines, but we also then need technology from today that can take the speeds. And so because they're mismatched, the second line got overloaded and went down. That's what happened in both 2 weeks ago and on Friday morning. Did I get that right, Frank? Yes, am I close? All right.
So is the backup system operational right now? I know the software patch has been deployed.
So the software patch actually worked on Sunday morning. So that's why we didn't lose radar, we didn't lose telecom on Sunday morning, but the primary line went down, and when that happened the prior 2 times, the whole system went down for 30 seconds. So the controllers were concerned, and that's why they did a ground stop for 45 minutes. However, we didn't lose telecom and we didn't lose scopes this Sunday. The backup line and the fix worked, so the backup line was functioning the way it is supposed to. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, Dave Shepardson from Reuters. So Verizon has a $2.4 billion contract the FAA signed in 2023 to replace the copper wire. Why do you think it hasn't happened faster? And what's the medium-term solution? Right? You mentioned the software patch, the short-term fix, but when we have assurance that the system is modern enough, at Newark at least, to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
They signed a $2.4 billion contract, the last administration did with Verizon. Do you know how long it was going to take to actually implement that $2.4 billion contract, which, by the way, was not enough money to build out fiber throughout the whole system? It was a 15-year contract. So this contract was just signed. They have another 12 years to complete the work, which was idiotic from the last administration. And so we're trying to repurpose and get Verizon to move more quickly. They've been good partners. They're trying to accommodate the needs of the FAA and the flying public. And again, we're going to need more money on the telecom front. That was just a part of it. And we can use some of that money for what work we're doing here. That was the first part of your question. The second part was?
The current system requires a lot of maintenance. I think some of these outages may have gone down when maintenance was occurring. So how do you have, what's the roadmap to a medium-term solution where we don't have these type of outages? Or will the backup system be enough?
So in Newark, we have, again, we've taken out the connections at the airports that were copper. We've made them now fiber. So we have fiber connections at the airports. We're testing those right now. We go through a 2-week test period before we flip the switch. End of May, we should be able to flip the switch and bring the fiber online. But we're having problems with some of the lines we're currently using. So we are pushing our contractors to actually fix these telecom issues that we have right now. And it was supposed to be the end of the summer. I don't want to give you a date because you're going to hold me to it, but we are pushing them to radically speed up the time frame in which they can deliver new telecom into the Philly TRACON, which should resolve the issues that we're experiencing over the last 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah. 2 questions. One is, I know you said Newark will be a priority. Will it be the #1 priority given the confluence of problems that we've seen?
Yeah. So I think we're going to be able to do, we're going to have to do more than one location at a time. But yes, priority #1 is going to be Newark.
And then I understand you're placing a lot of the blame on the previous administration, but these problems are happening now under the second administration. Are you just unlucky, or are there some real issues that need to be addressed under this current administration?
If you buy a used car, you drive it home, and go to bed, wake up the next morning, drive to the store, and it breaks down, is it your fault, or is it the guy that you bought it from sold you a lemon, right? So we have to recognize, again, because I think a lot of the media tries to say, oh, this infrastructure is failing under the first 100 days of the Trump administration or Sean Duffy as secretary. And I think that is a known falsehood, known lie by the media. You all know that it's been cracking. Those of you who cover aviation, there's been telltale signs, there's been conversations, there's been congressional hearings on this, and the fact that the last administration did nothing should be reported. The fact that they spent $1.2 trillion and really invested zero in this massive infrastructure build that America needs, aviation needs, and they didn't pay attention to it at all. That they would have moved the TRACON from N90 down to Philly and wouldn't harden the network and wouldn't move the STAR system down to Philly shows, I think, a lack of focus. And maybe when you work from home, or maybe when you work from Michigan as a secretary, you're not focused on the real issues that are taking place throughout the airspace. And that's what was happening at this department. They were focused on what we call a cockpit versus a flight deck. We had to change notice to airmen to notice to air mission, right? That was the focus, as opposed to you have a cracking system and let's get the money to fix it, or let's at least start the fix in that system. They didn't do that. And so I've inherited it. The Trump administration has inherited it. Donald Trump has said, we are going to fix it. We are not going to pass it off. So we are not going to do what they did. And so I fully embrace, as you can see, we've developed a plan, we've put out a plan, we've told the Congress this is what we have to do. We are not shying away from any problems, but I think it's important to recognize why we have the problems. You didn't get old, cracking infrastructure in 100 days. It came from the 4 years before where they chose to do nothing. And so we're going to fix it. The Congress has to help. And if they do, we're going to fix it quickly. They gave us the problem. We have the results in this administration. And again, we're going to continue to update you. If there's any other issues at Newark, we want to be transparent. We want to let you know what infrastructure problems there are. If there's telecom issues, we're going to let you know what those are. And we'll keep you apprised of how we're going to fix the issues that arise. Hopefully we're done. I'm not going to tell you we're done. My hope is that we're done. But as Chris Rushlow indicated, we are about safety. And I know there's frustration about the number of flights at Newark. I get that. I fly out of Newark. My wife flies out of Newark. My kids fly out of Newark. It's frustrating. But again, we're all about safety. And safety is the mission. And so if we can only do 24 to 28 flights an hour, that's all we're going to do to feel like we are adequate in the mission of keeping people safe going from point A to point B. And with that, thank you all for coming. We'll keep you updated as things develop.
That was a really good soundbite right there from Sean Duffy saying you didn't get old cracking infrastructure in 100 days. The blame, of course, over the past 4 years, there were things that were wrong with the air traffic control system, some of these wires, and nothing was done. So Sean Duffy saying President Trump fixes problems. He doesn't cause problems. As they look forward to a new air traffic control system, there is a recent software update to work on the problem right now at Newark to get everything taken care of. But holy smokes, man, it's good to have the right people in charge taking care of our country moving forward. And let's shift over now. Joining us now is Kim Bright. She is the owner of Brightcore. Kim, thanks so much for joining us on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Well, thank you for having me again.
Definitely. Your thoughts about so far the president and Maha? I mean, a lot of good things happening.
A lot of good things happening, like at the speed of lightning. I'm so happy about what's going on, because for years we've had so much corruption in the FDA, allowing the poisons in our food, and then working in conjunction with big pharma to keep people sick and continue to produce their bottom line in a bigger way, but producing more drugs and people requiring more surgery. So I'm very excited about the team that RFK Jr. has assembled, and I have high hopes for this country.
Yeah, same here. I mean, RFK Jr. saying about President Trump that we finally have a president standing up for the American people, and this isn't just rhetoric. This isn't just some words. This is actions with the Make America Healthy Again movement. You, having so many years of experience in health, must be smiling from ear to ear for we the people.
Yes, I am. I certainly am.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the chemicals and poison. How have they really affected our bodies over the past several years, decades?
Yeah, it's decades. It's generational. They've affected us because they affect, first and foremost, our gut. When you use pesticides and herbicides on the plants, then they continue to be in the soil. And that soil becomes more and more abundant in bad bacteria, bad funguses, bad guys. Just like in our gut, we have a microbiome. And it has good guys and it has bad guys. And we have been destroying our gut microbiome by eating ultra-processed foods, by eating chemically, filled foods from the fields, and eating the animals that eat those foods. So we're destroying our own health because our health starts in our gut, and our sickness starts in our gut. So when we are imbalanced in that microbiome and we have more pathogens than we do good guys, think of those guys as our special ops forces, if you will, Green Berets and the Navy SEALs going in to kill the bad guys off, then we're in trouble. Then we see sickness, then we see acidity in the body, and disease loves acidity.
So then what can we do specifically to reverse the damage that's already been done other than stop eating that junk?
Well, we need to stop eating the junk, but what we need to do is concentrate on what foods are going to promote the healthy bacteria, the good guys, the special ops in our gut. And that is fermented food, and the king of fermented food is kimchi. Now, this is a food that's been around for centuries in Korea, and this food is loaded with live active enzymes. It's a fermented food. It's fermented cabbage and garlic and ginger and chilies. And it does have a taste and a flavor that people don't like in America. They're not used to this smell and taste. So, but it has all these beneficial, over 900 different beneficial probiotics, which are going to replace the bad guys, and those live active enzymes and antioxidants and all kinds of nutrients. So this is the reason why Bricor, we decided to make Kimchi One, which is kimchi in a capsule that you can take conveniently every single day and get all the benefits of making your gut healthy, because every single tissue, every single cell, every organ in our body, including our brain, is connected to our gut. So the gut health is reflecting on our body everywhere and in our body everywhere. So this is why we designed Kimchi One as a capsule, so you can have benefits every single day.
So can you talk about some of those benefits that people have actually felt and received, and then also what makes kimchi such a powerful superfood?
Well, again, it goes back to those 900 different probiotics and the live enzymes. And what it's done for people is incredible. I mean, we have stories from in all areas of your body. First and foremost, digestion. And people are noticing regularity. They're noticing how they're eating less food now because they must be absorbing their nutrients better. Their constipation's gone. They don't have headaches. They sleep better. They have higher energy levels. They have an immune system that's healthier because they're not getting as sick as often. It's lowering the risk of obesity. Their waistlines are shrinking. Their weight is going down, and they have healthier skin and hair. They're noticing it right away.
So I've heard of probiotics, and it sounds like, hey, that's a good thing. But you may have already covered this, but just for sometimes, you buy these books that says Idiot's Guide for this. What's the Idiot's Guide for probiotics? Really, what is a probiotic? And you're saying that's in the Kimchi One product, right?
Yes, probiotics mean pro is for and biotic is life. So when you most people have taken antibiotics in their lifetime, and too many of them actually. And the antibiotic is against all life. That means it's going to kill the bad guys, the bad bugs, but it's also going to kill the good bacteria in your gut. And when you're on antibiotic after antibiotic after antibiotic, you are just promoting more of the bad pathogens in your gut, and you have less of the probiotics. The probiotics are the good guys. Those are the healthy bacteria that are going to make your gut healthy and keep it in a proper pH and keep your skin, your hair, your heart, your brain. We have a gut-brain axis. We have a gut hormone axis. We have a gut-skin axis. So it's keeping all of those healthy. That's why we need probiotics every single day. And we need these unique strains in kimchi.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you. That's perfectly put. Thank you for the explanation on that. I've actually never heard it. Antibiotics, probiotics, it all, we're going at 100 miles per hour in our lives sometimes. We just don't think about things like this. But we do know that for our gut health, for our immune support, and many other factors, that this Kimchi One product is available. Now, is there a specific, let's just be straight up, is there a deal that you have for RSBN viewers, or is it, it costs a certain amount? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
No, we're going to give your guys a deal, of course.
Okay.
And we're going to give you 25% off. They go to mybrightcore.com/RSBN and use that code RSBN, and you'll get 25% off. But I'm an educator, and I love to educate people, and we have a staff that loves to educate as well. And we want you to call in and make sure that this is right for you. So call this number. Call us at 888-722-0936, and you're going to get up to 50% off your order, and we're going to include free shipping. And if you're one of the first 100 callers, we're going to give you also a free bottle of vitamin D3. Again, that number is 888-722-0936.
So vitamin D3 plus the Kimchi One product within the capsules, how many capsules are in that bottle? Is it 90 or 60?
It's 90. You take 3 a day. That is the serving that you need, and it will really promote good gut health, and you will see the results very quickly.
So what was it, though, that got you started with all of this?
All of health or
health.
Kimchi or Brightcore?
That's the thing. I love the open-ended question. You can take it where you'd like. But I mean, yeah, how about let's just go with health and then how it got down to Brightcore and Kimchi One.
Well, I was a model and actress out in LA, and at age 20, I had a near-death experience because I was drinking a lot of alcohol. And so in that near-death experience, and I was raised on a typical American diet, lots of sugar, lots of meat, lots of dairy. And so after that experience and meeting my maker, I came back with the knowledge that I had to understand nutrition. And so I started studying that, and I helped myself, and then I started helping others. And 28 years ago, going on now 29 years, I started Brightcore Nutrition. And that was to help people I was counseling that just absolutely were having a hard time, a difficult time, really trying to get started on a new way of eating, a new way of thinking about their health. That's why I started Brightcore, so they could start off with a supplement that would, give them a foot up, if you would, to head in the right direction. And so I've been doing that for this long. My son now, it's a family-owned business. Everything's made in the United States, which I'm very proud of, and no tariffs. and so I'm very proud of that. And my son is now CEO, and I'm proud of him. He's been working with me since he was 5 years old. So you're in good hands. And as I said, it's a family business, and we really care about people's health.
And it's awesome. I mean, make America great again, make America healthy again. I know you're a proponent of both of those things for our country. Kim Bright, thanks again for joining us. Before I let you go, I do want to ask you, you've got the MAGA hat there, you've got the American flag in the background. Your
and
thoughts,
my eagle.
And the eagle, you cannot forget about our
and my angel.
And the angel, we'll take it all, right? Your thoughts just about what President Trump has been doing for you, for me, and for all of us.
God bless President Trump. He is, I'm going to cry, a godsend for all of us. That man has such courage, and he is taking on so much, and is changing not only America, but he's changing the world. God bless him. That's how I feel.
Amen. That is exactly how many Americans feel, we the people, the majority of this country, because we know it takes someone like him to do what he's doing, and he's doing a great job. He and all those cabinet leaders like RFK Jr. we were talking about. Kim, thank you so much.
He's formed that team, and it's great, and I love it.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
Kim Bright with Brightcore, thank you again for taking the time with us on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We feel you, we're with you, and we support President Trump and the Constitution of this United States.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 2:23 Eastern, Monday, May 12th. Kim Bright of Brightcore. Awesome to interview her there and talk about her great product that she has out there, Kimchi One. But also just ask that last question there. What are your thoughts about what President Trump's doing? And it definitely struck her, right? And it could strike anybody that way. Because this isn't just to make our country wealthy. This isn't just to have our constitutional rights, which is very important, of course, but this is also to have us have more safety and more health and just be Americans, and to have our faith in God and our faith in each other, God, family, friends, that whole thing. It's really what it's about. So it was great to interview Kim there. At 2:24 Eastern, Monday, May 12th, I believe the producer just said something about Colonial Metals Group. Let's go to it. freegoldguide.com/RSBN. freegoldguide.com/RSBN. We want to thank Colonial Metals Group for being a great sponsor here. Also, All Family Pharmacy. We interviewed Lars Larson earlier, who's speaking on behalf of the company. A great interview. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You just heard from Kim Bright at Brightcore, so mybrightcore.com/RSBN as well. Great product right there. Kim, she won. And we might as well go with another great sponsor, mypillow.com/RSBN, a longtime sponsor here. Mike Lindell selling some great products, including the Giza Dream Sheets for $49. Good price, mypillow.com/RSBN. For all of us at RSBN Live, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow and through this week, especially with this Middle East coverage that's about to happen. We love you, America. We'll talk to you later.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.